Sound effect, heartbeat SFX in the heart of Dubai Marina, a city that builds monuments to absolute wealth, stands a 1,396-foot column of pure concrete and gold-plated silence. A slender square shaft piercing the desert sky, more famous today for its multi-million-dollar lawsuits than for its actual residents, its reflective glass catches the brutal Arabian Gulf sunset, throwing blinding light across the marina. Yet, on any given night, more than half of its floors are pitch black. The penthouse, when it first sold, set a record as the most expensive luxury condominium in the entire United Arab Emirates. Today, just 10 years after completion, the ultra-luxury facade is visibly cracking, and the foundation is shifting. This is the Marina Sovereign Tower, and what the developers quietly changed in the official sales documents in 2013. While these billionaire apartments were still being pitched to international investors, is something the buyers were never told. The numbers are staggering: $1.3 billion to construct $3.1 billion in projected sellout value, 1,893 alleged structural defects logged in a single engineering survey, 2 massive, active lawsuits paralyzing the development, over 7 million pages of legal and engineering documents reviewed, a documented $160 million emergency repair plan prepared in 2025 by independent forensic engineers, a plan that has completely stalled, more N20 catastrophic water leaks and pipe bursts since 2017. So, why has the most expensive residential Supertall in Dubai sat half empty, plagued by cracking concrete, thermal glass fatigue, and absentee billionaire owners? While no one is fixing it, why has the Dubai municipality never been formally notified by the developers that the tower is compromised? And what did the luxury developers edit out of the sales contract the exact year construction began? This is the terrifying engineering reality behind Dubai's empty, cracking billionaire tower. Retro synth drone FX, archival footage. Audio to understand how a 1.3 billion Supertall tower ends up with thousands of structural cracks and almost no permanent residents. You have to go back to man and ambition. And the single material choice that doomed the entire project. In 2006, the prominent local developer Tariq Al Mansour purchased a prime plot of land right on the Dubai Marina waterfront for $440 million. He cleared the site, but the global financial crisis hit, and the project sat completely dormant for 5 years while Al Mansour scrambled to assemble international financing. He eventually partnered with a Los Angeles-based private equity group who injected the massive capital needed to revive the dream. Al Mansour publicly declared this tower would be the absolute capstone of his career. He wanted a structure that defied the desert landscape. The chosen architect gave it a pure square footprint, 93.5 feet on each side, with an aggressive height-to-width ratio of 15:1. There would be no exterior cladding, no setbacks to break the wind. The load-bearing structural concrete itself would serve as the raw exposed facade the world looked at. In 2011, the fateful decision was made to use a highly specialized white Portland cement mixed with local aggregates. It was a material engineered for visual perfection under intense stress, but no concrete mix of that specific composition had ever been asked to carry weight at a height of nearly 1,400 feet, right in the extreme heat of the UAE, in 2012. The lead project architect emailed the development team a blunt warning. According to court records unsealed in 2025, the email read, "They are going down a dangerous and slippery path that I believe will eventually lead to material failure and inevitable lawsuits." The warning was filed. The warning was ignored. The pour went ahead. That was the original sin of the Marina Sovereign Tower. But the dollar value of the concrete choice wasn't the only thing the developers would rewrite. By April 2025, a massive condo board lawsuit alleged that mock-up tests conducted during the design phase proved this specific white concrete mix would crack under the building's immense structural loads. An internal engineering email from October 2025 summarized the brutal corporate trade-off in 3 words: color or cracks. The choice was binary. The developers chose color. They needed that pristine, gleaming white finish to sell the dream to global billionaires. The cracks began spreading before the tower was even finished. Low Sabas drone. Audio of rushing waters. The concrete supplier was still frantically experimenting with design mixes 3 months after facade construction had already begun. The cracks emerged almost immediately. As the desert sun beat down, thermal expansion tore through the unyielding structure. A chief structural engineer on the project allegedly emailed the developers with a direct, urgent instruction: hold the pour until we have a valid, tested concrete mix. The lawsuit alleges the developers plowed forward anyway, with complete disregard for the structural warnings. In any normal engineering project, this is a pause and recalibrate moment. Here, it was a multi-billion-dollar train running on a corporate sales schedule. To make matters worse, engineers strongly recommended applying an opaque elastomeric coating to seal the exposed facade. Without it, the building was completely vulnerable to coastal humidity, salt-heavy sea air, and intense seasonal downpours. The recommendation was flatly rejected. Why? Because the coating would alter the gleaming white appearance, destroying its visual prestige for the world's elite. Instead, they applied a cheap clear coat. Depositions have since proven this coating was utterly useless against the brutal UAE climate cycle of extreme daytime heat, nighttime cooling, and high atmospheric moisture. And the cracks on the outside were mirrored by chaos on the inside. By 2021, buyers who paid up to $90 million for their sky mansions discovered the true cost of these shortcuts. Just before Labor Day that year, the entire 1,396-foot tower had to be completely evacuated for 2 days. The cause? A violent arc flash explosion in the main electrical grid, the second major electrical failure in 3 years. According to the subsequent lawsuit, a maintenance worker attempting to fix severe water infiltration drilled directly through the concrete and pierced the tower's primary high-voltage wiring. The resulting explosion threw the worker backward several feet and crippled the building's power supply. Desperate for answers, the wealthy residents commissioned an independent forensic engineering study. The findings were terrifying. Over 73% of the tower's mechanical, plumbing, and electrical infrastructure did not match the developer's official as-built blueprints. Worse, nearly a quarter of those undocumented, non-conforming components posed immediate, active life safety hazards. Dramatic wind-s effects, echoing metallic bangs since 2017, the Marina Sovereign Tower has suffered over 20 major water leaks, flooding luxury penthouses with brackish water and ruining millions of dollars in custom interiors. But the leaks were only the beginning. The 2021 resident lawsuit exposed a laundry list of structural nightmares. The central trash chute was built with such a severe design flaw that when garbage dropped from the upper floors, it hit the bottom with a sound like a bomb detonating, sending shockwaves through the lower apartments. Constant, low-frequency structural vibrations made sleeping impossible at certain heights. During high-velocity Gulf winds, the building swayed so violently that an elevator jammed, trapping a high-profile resident inside for over an hour. The entire Supertall was structurally noisy. Residents reported a constant, unsettling chorus of creaking, loud metallic banging, and snapping sounds as the building struggled against the wind and intense desert heat. Yet, while the facade cracked and the wiring exploded, the ultra-wealthy buyers were quietly abandoning the property. By April 2024, real estate records indicated that the building was effectively sold out, with only a single unit held back by the condo board. But in Dubai's elite market, sold does not mean lived in. An extensive market analysis published in August 2025 revealed a brutal truth. 10 out of 16 owners who tried to resell their units between 2021 and 2025 took massive financial losses. The very apartments that once broke records as the most expensive residential real estate in the Middle East had become the most heavily discounted on a price per square foot basis in their class. The tower quickly transformed from a symbol of prestige into a ghost town in the sky. Industry data from early 2026 confirms that nearly half of the units in Dubai's tallest luxury residential towers are completely unoccupied year-round. They are not homes. They are cold assets held through shell companies and offshore limited liability structures. The owners are entirely absentee. The lights are off. The pattern plays out at the highest tier of wealth. A global celebrity couple purchased a sprawling 3-bedroom unit in the tower for $15.3 million, only to dump it less than a year later. A prominent Saudi retail magnate listed his massive full-floor penthouse in June 2021 for an astronomical $169 million. By May 2024, after the structural defects leaked to the press, he slashed the asking price to $105 million, a staggering $64 million loss just to escape the building. Another unit sold for a highly discounted $70 million in 2022. The building is legally occupied, but functionally dead. The international billionaires have collected their tax shelter, left the lights off, and locked the doors. And they still didn't know what had happened to the contracts they signed. Tense. Resolving music in Tixo. Why hasn't anyone fixed the cracks? The engineering solution exists. Independent forensic structural engineers estimate that a 3-year, $160 million comprehensive renovation could seal the cracking facade, repair the spalling concrete, and permanently protect the internal mechanical systems. But they issued a grim warning. Without this immediate intervention, chunks of concrete will inevitably break free, heavy glass windows will loosen, mechanical systems will completely fail, and water seeping into the core will compromise the $1.3 billion tower's ultimate structural integrity. Let us do them. A tower cost $1.3 billion to build. The emergency rescue plan pushes the total past $1.4 billion. But the units are actively depreciating. The market value of a repaired building would carry a permanent stigma in a hyper-luxury market where the tower's name is now synonymous with failure. The cost of the rescue simply exceeds the rescued value. The current lawsuits seek hundreds of millions in damages, while the developers categorically deny all fraud allegations, calling them baseless and defamatory. Meanwhile, the tower sits half empty, cracking in the intense Arabian heat, wrapped in a clear coat that engineers explicitly warned would fail. The legal teams fight across 7 million pages of documents, while the cracks continue to spread. But the worst part is what was hidden from the official files. What was the true failure of the Marina Sovereign Tower? It wasn't just a bad concrete mix. It was the corporate belief that you could rewrite legal documents fast enough to outrun the laws of physics. The 2025 lawsuits reveal that the building's official offering plan was quietly revised in 2013 while units were still selling. The original contract stated, "The density of the concrete will prevent water penetration." The edited version read, "The concrete and properly sealed windows have been designed to prevent water penetration." Changing one word. From will to design to, because they already knew the truth in the race to the desert sky. The most dangerous shortcuts are never the ones poured into the concrete. They are the ones edited into the sales contract.